This may turn out to be my shortest DIY video ever. This is my Topo Toppers Mesa camper. I've had it for a couple of years and I absolutely love it. It has transformed the way that I camp. It is super well built. It is sleek. It is lightweight. It has made exploring and camping so much fun. Love getting to a spot, throwing this thing up, and I'm ready to go to bed. If you have a Topo Toppers camper, you are familiar with the process of moving bed panels around to stow the bed or to deploy the bed when you're ready to go to bed. And handling those panels and shuffling the bed around is really not bad at all. It takes under a minute in either direction. It is, however, just enough of a headache that I find myself not stowing the bed sometimes if I need to get up and do something in the lower part of the camper, or even if I go out on an overnight trip and I know I'm headed home in the morning. Sometimes I will get up, I won't stow the bed, I will scrunch under here to get dressed just so that I don't have to put the bed all away and then redeploy the bed later on in order to fold up the camper. But it's not pure laziness. The other factor that sometimes comes into play is because I am generally out camping in the colder weather months, it's really common for me to wake up in the morning and everything's a little bit damp inside. When I get up and fold all my bedding over and pile all the mattress and panels on top of it, my bedding doesn't have a chance to sort of dry out. And in a similar vein, in the evening, if I'm running some heat in here and everything is packed up and stuffed into the wedge of the cab over, none of the warm air penetrates that area. And when I do deploy the bed, everything is very cold in the far end of the camper. Now, almost from the very beginning, when I got the camper, I started thinking about how could I make this into an articulating bed. I watched a friend of mine with a different brand of camper convert hers using a large sheet of plywood and some hinges and some gas struts, and it worked, but the whole thing looked like quite a headache to put together. In fact, she completely disassembled her tent in order to access everything that she needed to build in. It finally occurred to me that I don't necessarily need the whole entire length of the bed to move up with the wedge. In fact, what I realized is that would just push the bedding up to the ceiling, so it still would not have any sort of airflow around it. So here's what I did instead. First, I bolted the two bed panels together. I just drilled some holes, ran some bolts through there with washers and lock washers. So now this is one just complete unit. I drilled holes on the outer edge here and put these eye hooks in. These are eye hooks that have threads on the back end, so those are also bolted in. Those are very secure. I drilled a small hole on either side of this metal support cross beam here. I made two short lengths of chain like this. This is chain they sell at the hardware store for about $1 a foot. These are just some basic metal eye hooks, and I hooked them into the link and then just used the vise to squeeze that down so that the chain can't come out of there. Now these chains just live here, hooked up to this metal bar. They're to the side, they're out of my way. They're not problematic at all. And when I arrive at camp or when I get up in the morning and I want to stow the bed, I just lift it up and one hook, two hooks. When I'm ready to go to bed or pack up the camper to leave, it's simply the reverse. Unhook, unhook. This comes right on down. And I found that my bedding doesn't even really slough off that much. It just kind of stays in place. Now this isn't 100% super always perfect. You know, I might bump into the edge there. I might bump into window or pocket, either going up or going down. But it's minimal fiddling to get it to go up and down. And there is not really concern about this being too much weight pulling down on the struts that are holding the roof up, because the vast majority of this weight is being held at the bottom because it's sitting almost vertical on the rails. In fact, it is so lightweight that, you know, I can hold it up with one finger. If I had a solar panel on the roof, it would be putting more weight on this than what this is. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're going to say, but Donald, that's going to impact your spot to sit. And you're right, it does. It does encroach a little bit into my spot to sit here. So that's a little bit of a trade-off, and I might have to figure out a different way to hang out in the camper rather than sitting on this spot right here. But I am so happy with how this works that this definitely takes priority. I love how this turned out. I love how simple and easy it works. I love how easy it was to do and how inexpensive it was. I spent less than $10 on hardware. I probably spent an hour putting this together. I'm going to end up spending more time on this video than I spent on this project. Now for my overhead light here, this does block a little bit of the light coming down here. I do have this light here and this light here to, oh, and actually this one that's now revealed. I think it's fine. I mean, I could add a light to the underside of this, but I don't think it's really necessary. It's more than enough light. So yeah, that's basically it. For those of you who regularly follow my channel, I am heading out this week on a new multi-day adventure, so we'll have some of that coming to the channel here soon. If you have any questions about anything I did here, post them in the comments below. Thank you for watching.